Have you ever had one of those moments where you suddenly realize you've been running on autopilot? You know, those times where, you're busy, you're productive, you're doing all the things, but underneath it all, something feels disconnected. If that's the case, then this conversation is for you.
Driven by purpose, fueled by passion, my words got power, my thoughts have action, motivation, stay gracious, that's greatness, be audacious, motivation, be audacious, innovation, be audacious, inspiration, be bold, motivation, be audacious.
I needed purpose in my life. I hit hard eject. Had the courage to step away from the known shoreline, started my own 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to teaching everything I've ever learned about creativity and consciousness. We are teaching dozens, hundreds of youth how to be the conscious observer of their thoughts, thus gaining self-mastery through mental and emotional health tools. Think of it as Eckhart Tolle and Joe Dispenza for kids, taught through creativity and art. Boy, I have found what so many more before me have found, which is that when we have the courage to follow our dreams, our hopes, our visions, our intentions, then I'll be darned if the universe doesn't conspire with us.
This podcast is all about helping you unlock your inner greatness and live your best audacious life. And today I'm joined by Rafael McMaster. He's the founder of Indivisible Arts and someone who's dedicated his life to teaching young people creativity, consciousness, and emotional awareness through the power of art. While we were chatting, I found myself thinking about that, about the life changes, how much life changes the moment we start paying attention to ourselves, not judging, not fixing, just noticing. I'm telling you, folks, this conversation will definitely make you think. I think Rafael did a great job in unlocking some really key points for us all to consider. Enjoy. Rafael, my man, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing amazing, man. How are you doing, Audley?
Cool. Thank you for being here with me and taking time out of your day to join the Audacious Living Podcast. This is awesome, man. It really is. I always talk about how it's a blessing to be able to share and engage with individuals. And the cool thing about this is here at Rafael, you and I are going to be engaged in a conversation, and someone has an opportunity to eavesdrop on what we're saying and potentially use that to put themselves in a better place in life. That's awesome. That really is an awesome process to be a part of for me. So thank you.
And that's right. I can think of nothing more powerful or important in a person's conversation to be able to say something. Me and you are going to say something today that hopefully whoever is listening to this, whoever you are, wherever you are, that maybe you might hear something in our conversation today that opens up a new door in your mind, a new data point to what's possible, helps you make a shift in consciousness. And boy, oh boy, that is what's possible right here, right now. Let's go.
So you know what's really cool too? So tell me, like, imagine yourself or someone's going through a challenge. They're going through a difficult period. And I can tell you, it's so easy to think nobody on the planet has any idea what you're going through and no idea what you're experiencing. And imagine for a moment you hear someone go, yeah, I had that last week, but you know what I did? I did this and I got out of it. Like, how empowering is that? So we talk about the dialogue and the conversation and sharing. There's immense power, and that's the reason why I love podcasts, man, just for that reason alone.
It's the combination of you are not alone.
Yep.
We are all going through this together. People have been there too, and it works out. And here's a solution. Maybe it's a solution that you already know, but just being reminded of the concept energizes it into my active body today. And now it's a tool in my hands. We're rocking and rolling.
That's it. So let's get into your story a little bit, because you are very much in the creative space and you followed that. In fact, you made the audacious decision to follow that choice, to chase that creative energy that you're after. I wonder, maybe as a starting point, if you certainly introduce yourself to our audience, let them know about the work that you do and what's got you to the point that you're at right now.
Yeah. So creativity and art has given me a life beyond like my wildest imaginations. I graduated with a degree in fashion design, went on to design snowboards and skateboards, fashion lines, a clothing line for Puma, launching fashion brands. And then I was able to shoot photography all around the world, getting to see so many great, 15 different countries through the power of photography and storytelling. And I continue to climb that ladder, right, to graphic designer to art director to creative director to creative executive. And I was a creative executive at a big agency, launching brands with A-list talent. And I just felt like I had climbed that corporate ladder and my ladder was on the wrong building because I felt spiritually bankrupt. I reached for something deeper and it was like there was nothing there. And this callous feeling of trying to work my butt off day in, day out, being inspired. So what? I could make some other brands some more money and help consumers consume more. It felt shallow. I needed purpose in my life. I hit hard eject, had the courage to step away from the known shoreline, started my own 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to teaching everything I've ever learned about creativity and consciousness to this next generation through the power of art. And so my nonprofit's name is Indivisible Arts, indivisible as in it cannot be divided. And our nonprofit of Indivisible Arts, which is located out of SoCal, Hermosa Beach, California, we are teaching dozens, hundreds of youth how to be the conscious observer of their thoughts, thus gaining self-mastery through mental and emotional health tools. Think of it as Eckhart Tolle and Joe Dispenza for kids, taught through creativity and art.
I love it. I love it. Tell me, that jump, was it scary?
Oh my gosh, painfully scary. But I had the gift of desperation. So I find that so many of the people that I work with, that I coach, that I help, their lives aren't in enough pain for them to have the willingness, to have the courage to leave the known shoreline. It's like, oh, I'm not happy. I'm dissatisfied. There's got to be more to life than this. But, it
see
takes
where
courage.
comfort comes to mind, right?
Yeah, it does, right? That garden of comfort is beautiful, but nothing much grows there.
Right.
So having the courage or being in enough suffering, right? They say pain pushes until, intention inspires and pulls, spirit pulls. So I was in enough pain to say, I need a hard reset. It's time to do this in a different way. And I had the courage to kind of step off. And boy, I have found what so many more before me have found, which is that when we have the courage to follow our dreams, our hopes, our visions, our intentions, then I'll be darned if the universe doesn't conspire with us. And all sorts of amazing things that are mathematically impossible and improbable. The synchronicities, the alignment, the universe showing up for me in many different. I'm sitting right now in a 3,800 square foot creative laboratory with the music studio, fashion lab. I'm in the fashion area right now. There's a 3D design center right there, spray paint alley, yoga studio, immersive experience lab, painting, all the things. And this lab I have because 10 years ago when I decided to leave all that behind and start something fresh and anew, I'm like, well, wait, if I want to teach creativity to the next generation, why don't I volunteer for my daughter's class? Let me go volunteer for my daughter's art teacher. Let me go see if the elementary school has an art teacher. Wait, we don't have an art teacher at our elementary school? What, we haven't for 10 years? I didn't know. It turns out in many schools across the nation and school districts, the art teacher is one of the first things to go.
That's on the chopping block,
They said, well, wait a minute. We need to have a PE teacher, a STEM teacher, and an art teacher. We can only keep 2. So you can understand. I go, cool. I do get that. And
I actually don't. It doesn't, quite frankly, all 3 are critical or important. So I don't know how you decide.
I mean, the 2 ways to go about it. One, I would say instead of teaching STEM, let's teach STEAM, and you incorporate art into STEM.
Okay, fair.
Part 1. Part 2 is I think we're having the wrong conversation about art because I think art is poorly understood. And maybe I can take a second. Maybe this can be one of those potential shifts that I can make in your audience's minds by following along with me for the next 90 seconds to see if we can reimagine what art means. Because most parents I talk to, they say, oh, art, you mean like painting and drawing? Sure, it's part of it. But, in the Vedic or the Eastern Chinese medicine energetic systems, there's this idea of like masculine energy and feminine. It's not male or female. It's like the masculine doing, creating, making, and the feminine holding space, receiving.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So anytime I'm doing anything in that active state, in the masculine of active, doing, making, creating, and I do it with enough repetition that I can then do it without cognitively thinking. Therefore, I'm present but not thinking. I'm in a flow state. Therefore, I can take that activity to become an art form. Now, it could be the art of painting and drawing, but it could also be the art of cooking, of gardening, of the way I walk and talk, the way I text. I can send a mindless text, or I can line it up and it's poetic and it's thoughtful. There's the right emojis doing the right things. It's clever, all the things. That means anything I can do it as an art form. Now, here's the thing. Thoughts are the language of the mind. Emotions are the language of the body. Art is the language of the soul. And so if I'm doing art, even if it's just doodling, then it means my soul is present even on a subtle level. That means I can wash dishes in a way where if I'm doing the art of washing dishes, and we've all had that moment where like the soap is just right and the water's just right, and I'm throwing the fork and it's landing as I'm reaching for the next dish at the same time. And it's like I'm in the flow state, baby. And we're talking about we're dishes. And I feel soulfully present. I feel lifted. I feel spirit in body. And that is where the word inspired comes from. Spirit in body. So when I'm bringing spirit in body through living daily life as a spiritual exercise, through the power of living every act as an artistic expression, all of a sudden I have a shift in perspective from the head to the heart, and I'm living out a completely different experience. So when we're talking about teaching art to the next generation, that's what we're talking about.
And the element I want to add to that from the energetic standpoint, what that does when you're in that flow state and when you're operating, you're raising your juices, but more important is what it does to those around you, because we are attracted to positive energy, man. Like and I really believe that we want to be attracted to positive energy. And so you see a group of people in the corner doing something cool and it's having fun, we're all gravitating. We want to go, oh, what's going on over there? And is it FOMO? I want to see what's happening, right? Kind of thing. So that is a piece of it I think is really, really important. I love the fact, actually, before I ask you that, I want to go back. So the time, I'd like to know the space of time between the moment you said, I'm not happy doing this, till you actually made the decision.
About 5 years.
Really?
About 5 years, yeah.
Really?
About 5 years. And the hardest part about change is not doing the same thing I did the day before. Ain't that the thing? And the challenge is that, my thought forms, and this will get into what we're really teaching here about consciousness, but my thought forms, right, they're like programs. I am cold. That's going to make me more cold. But those programs that I run over and over and over again become patterns. And at a certain point, even when I don't want to do that pattern anymore, that pattern is doing me, right? And so that's part of why we're teaching these tools of consciousness to youth, because we don't have decades of unpatterning to do. It's faster. There's less pushback of the psyche, of the ego, of the personality, right? So now back to what you were saying about enthusiasm is infectious and people are drawn towards that energy. And that's one of the things we teach here is that, everything is energy. And if it exists, it vibrates. And one of the ways we teach our youth about the law of resonance is I'll hold two guitars and I'll say, okay, this guitar over here, it's got the strings are E, A, D, G, B, E, but it's got two E strings. When I play the E chord over here, the two E strings over here, microscopically, balloons, they vibrate, right? They wake up. And so now not even imagine, I am an instrument. And if I am emanating the specific frequency and vibration that's, let's say, enthusiasm or gratitude or appreciation, and that is humming off me, you can feel it right now. Well, anybody within 6 feet of me, which is the measured length of the electromagnetic energy field from the heart, anybody within 6 feet of me, those two strings are going to start to wake up within them. And it makes so much sense as to why when we hop in a car, if we're in a, carpooling and a person gets in and they're a certain mood and they're not even saying anything, but I'll be darned if you can feel it and it begins to rub off on us. You ever get out of like a shared car, and you're like, I got to take a shower. Like, I don't know what was up with that guy.
I was thinking, I was actually thinking when you walk into a meeting space or a room, right? You can feel that. So that let's stick with that person, the high energy person, right? That person walks in the room, they don't got to say a word. And you just, it's almost, you feel that magnet is being attracted to them. That's what we're talking about.
That's you know what? I've been taught that Christ was not Jesus's last name. That's the Christ. That's the Christos. It's the light, right? That's in ancient Greek. Christos, that light, that's the sacred light. And I'm not even from a religious perspective. I have no religious background in any way. We're just talking when a person walks in and you can feel that energy coming off of them.
Yeah.
That's the light that they're talking about when they say the word Christ.
It's the energy I felt when we jumped on here.
Yeah,
I felt your energy. Right?
Audley, let's go. Yeah,
Right?
man, you're in resonance for sure. Super good vibes. Super good vibes.
I want to ask you, you landed on, so consciousness is something that you've landed on that's very, very important.
Oh, yeah.
What got you there? Was it a realization? Was it just like, explain that to me.
Yeah. I was in enough pain, and I had a handful of habits that have me now able and proud to say that I've been in recovery for 10 years.
Good for you.
Right. And the tools that and the things that I needed to learn and have learned, and the tools that I practice daily in order to sustain that sobriety and recovery, those are the same tools that are so powerful they create a profound rearrangement of my psyche. Anybody who knows anyone who's gotten sober, you go, whoa, that person's like a different person now.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, what is the power so strong that they're able to have that nature of impact, right? Where this person's been trying on their own. If they could have quit a long time ago, they would have. These patterns are so big.
Right.
What are the tools requisite to bring into that person's life? And so I began seeing the handful of tools that I was using to, sponsor men. Well, those same tools are absolutely available to help kids with eating disorders or math homework stress, or, fill in the blank here. Suffering is suffering. And so on my own journey, I started collecting the best of the best.
Yeah.
And I did cognitive behavior therapy and dialectical behavior therapy and somatic and trauma therapy and Joe Dispenza and Eckhart Tolle and, fill in the lot here, Thich Nhat Hanh, Brene Brown. Let's take the best of the best. And then pandemic happened. And, the nature of our nonprofit went from teaching everything we can about creativity and art, supplement with a little bit some consciousness, to these are the tools, and the way we get kids in the door and into their souls is through art. And then we're teaching them these tools as the core of what matters to us. Right. So, with a handful of psychologists and therapists and the head of a healthcare organization, a group of people of us got together, right? An executive coach, a spiritual leader. We all got together during pandemic and say, what is the most fundamental set of 7 tools that we might be able to give this next generation? Now, we chose 7 because there's so many tools. 25, 35, so many tools.
Sure. Pick a number.
But but at a certain point, it becomes overwhelming.
That's right.
Right. So 7 we felt was like large enough to be able to do service to the important ones, and short enough that it feels, tangible and that someone can take it on. And we're talking about someone who is either a kid, or they're an adult who has the tools of a kid, or they're struggling so much that we don't want to overwhelm them. We want to make this accessible. We want to make this something they can just one day at a time get better, 1%, one day at a time. You turn around in 100 days and you feel 100% better.
Yeah. Love it.
And so
Love it.
these 7 tools, can I share with you what we landed on? What made it on the chopping block. Yeah, right.
Let's do it.
All right. So tool number 1 we landed on is awareness.
Yes.
Awareness taught as at the core of what Eckhart Tolle's teaching, for anyone listening, this realization that I did not have until I was 35.
Okay.
And a neurolinguistics professor, Joey Tabanella, shout out Joey, I hope you hear this one day, said to me, you know what, all those voices and thoughts in your head? And I'm like, yeah, I got too many and they're warring with each other. He says, you're not those thoughts. Right. You're the one having the thoughts, watching the thoughts, observing the thoughts. Thus you can change the thoughts. And it was like, oh, that's why now, why did I have to be 35 for anyone to lay this at my feet? I made it all the way through college. Nobody brought this up.
That's your mic drop, man.
Right. So, and now, granted, they were trying to teach me mindfulness. I had read Eckhart Tolle's, New Earth, but I didn't understand it in that way. Maybe I wasn't ready to hear the message yet.
That's right. That's right.
So awareness and it's interesting because our youth here, and so much of this is youth driven and taught to them, and then they reflect it back, and then we capture that reflection so that the content that we're creating, we know will be resonant with this next generation because it was co-created with them. So here's our book, The Fundamental Life Tools, but here's an example of an illustration by one of these youth.
Okay. Yeah.
They refer to awareness as mind watching.
Mind. Yes, that's right.
Mind watching.
Yep.
Right.
Seeing
now,
my
a person
mind.
sees this,
Yep.
person sees this, and they're like, oh, cool, I get it. You know, a fifth
right.
grader who sees that, it's like, okay, that's how it works. Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. There's no real resistance because they haven't been listening to the personalities for decades.
That's
right.
That's right. Or the outside voices too, right? Not only there's ones inside, but the outside too. That's a huge factor.
Right. And so now, Audley, you and I have the opportunity to be that outside voice.
That's right.
If you're hearing this for the first time, and this is like the scales falling from your eyes to realize, wait a minute, all of those thought forms in my head, they're just data blips. They're just thoughts. I'm the one watching them, and I can change them. I can rewrite the script.
Yes.
Let's go. That is the seat of power.
The part around that, which I think is a natural follow through, which I gotta admit, it kind of excites me a little bit because of how powerful it is you once you develop that awareness, or even that awareness of self, that allows you to be able to regulate your emotions. That puts you on that path of being able to have full regulation of your emotions. And that's huge because our emotions, as beautiful as they can be, they betray us. They can betray us if we're not careful. And so I love the idea of just being in control of what's happening to our emotions.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Having even a shot at that, right? And so that's that first tool. The second tool, once we have them awake and online, we go into acceptance. Acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. If I'm ever upset, distressed, obsessed, it's because I find something in my life unacceptable. And I can't be at peace or serenity until I accept everything exactly as it is. Thy will be done. This is my pathway back to peace. And in peace, then I can begin going towards this third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. So the third tool we teach is an intention. Intention. How to have a vision. How in the world am I supposed to get what I want in life if I don't know what I'm shooting for?
What is your North Star, right?
What is your North Star, baby? And I don't need to know the directions or blueprint to get there. I just need to know, what can I do today?
That's right.
Right. What can I do today?
And what's so beautiful about that is the moment you know, okay, that's where I'm going. Okay. It allows you now to filter out the stuff you don't need. Sometimes we get caught up in habits and routines and things that don't make sense, is not aligned with where we're going, right? And now when we know what that picture is, it's easier to filter out, so it really gives you purpose, right? Is what we're doing.
Right. It gives purpose. It strengthens our capacity to prioritize. Yeah. Because then we can see what is actually serving our vision or not.
That's right. That's right.
You know?
And that's what you certainly can speak to, because you took that over prestige. You left the prestige for the purpose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. And my life is a billion times better because of it. Anybody who's considering it, I'll at least just testify from my experience that it was the best thing I ever did, was leaving all that behind, for sure.
Number 4, what's up?
Number 4, gratitude. Now,
love that one.
Sometimes these kids, and I relate, they don't love this word gratitude because the only time they're hearing the word gratitude is a parent saying, you need to be more grateful. It's the shadow side. It's coupled together with guilt. Yes. You should be grateful. There's so many people out in the world who don't have food. Man, is that the feeling I want to be feeling? So we focus on gratitude as a tool. Okay, so now going back to the neurolinguistics of it, the thought forms in my head are like programs. When these kids sit down to do homework and the first voice that stops in their head is, I hate homework. First off, this is me talking in the class. Are you that thought? No. Who are you? The one watching it. Can you change the thought? Yeah. Yes. What can you change the thought to? I'm grateful I have a teacher who cares about me. I'm grateful I have a free education. I'm grateful because I'm going to get to go to college and I need to know this stuff for it. I'm grateful because I like learning, and I'm grateful that the sooner I get done with, the sooner I can go play with my friends. Okay. Right. Now, a person who takes a second to say those 5 programs in their head versus listening to the story of, I hate homework, I'm not good at math, is going to have a completely different experience. right? So this is the life hack to be able to shift my perspective quickly. It's really taking steps tools 1, 2, 3, and quickly saying,
Yes.
we're just going to G flip. We call it this tool of gratitude, G flipping. So flipping a lens of gratitude.
Yeah.
And it's the fastest way, like a judo move for me to take, oh my gosh, this traffic is, I'm going to be so late. What a crappy experience too. I'm grateful I got a car with a great stereo. Let's bump it. Let's go.
I love this song.
Completely.
More time in this car to listen to music, right?
That's right. More time to be with myself. So, G flipping, a very, very fast way to flip the script and get myself. And now, one thing I think you're noticing is this is all about practicality of tools that are tangible.
Yeah.
So much of the stuff out there, the curriculum, whatever it is, it's thinking about emotions. That's cool. It's all good. I'm not like, saying anything bad about anybody. But what I realize now, at least what I needed, was really tangible, basic, common sense, fundamental tools. And that's what we're teaching with this book. That's what we're teaching with this curriculum that is now California state accepted English curriculum. So we're teaching it in the classrooms here in California. And there's a movement that is happening of youth that are having their awakening and achieving this mindset that through these tools, they become conscious and creative and curious, compassionate, confident. And it takes practice, but it's very doable. Every single one of these tools is already baked into us. And that leads us to the next tool, the fifth tool, as compassion and kindness and empathy and understanding. And the sixth tool, forgiveness, to be able to overcome resentment when I've been wounded, whether it be physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. How long am I going to drink that poison of a resentment, expecting the other person to die? Sooner or later, I need to make the decision, the sovereign decision, that I am going to forgive the person and forgive myself, because I don't want to keep drinking this poison anymore. It's not helping anything.
That's right. And understanding that's more about you. Forgiveness is more about you than the other person. As much as they wronged me and they did this to me and they did, but it's about you, right? And it's your feelings of what they had done. I mean, so for example, someone could do something to you that may not have the same impact to me, right? Yeah. But you may have a totally different reaction because of what that means to you. And I think it's, and that kind of goes back a little bit of watching your mind, right? It's all interconnected, right? Very much.
That's right. If each one of these tools is like an app on a phone, then awareness is like the on button. Once I'm aware, then I have access to everything else. But when I'm not aware and I'm like, but you don't understand how they hurt me, and but right, then I'm stuck in the story and I cannot get past that stage in the game until I accept everything as it is, forgive and let go of the story, so that my hands are free to be able to take in the next great thing. But as long as I'm stuck in the story and living out that resentment, then my life's going to get smaller and smaller. And the challenge with resentment, the reason why I think it's the most toxic of all the emotions, is because if I'm angry, I know I'm angry.
Right.
If I'm frustrated, I know I'm frustrated. If I'm resentful, it sounds just like logic. How many times have you seen, ooh, did you see what they texted me? Look at this. And they're reading it, and you're reading going, I don't know if I see anything, but a person's seeing it with a resentful lens.
Yep.
People who see the world resentfully, guess what? Those relationships get smaller and smaller and smaller, because once they get hurt once, then they're playing this resentful story about that person, when guess what? That person wasn't doing it to you. They were just doing it.
That's right. And the other part that we do sometimes, we're so ego driven, we think that everything is happening to us, right? That person that cut us off, they were trying to spite us, and maybe they weren't getting it, they're trying to get to work. No. They were trying to get at us. Right. And so much of us getting out of our heads and they
didn't even notice. They weren't paying attention. They were playing Candy Crush on their phone, driving with their knees. I mean, the hilarity of it. And that leads us to the seventh tool. Now, it's hard to pick favorites amongst the children, but awareness, I've got to think, is the most important. It turns the lights on. But equally, this seventh one of connection to each other in the way we feel right now with each other, connection to each other in service and learning how to serve and not just be thinking about myself all the time. Tell you what, if anybody's listening and your world feels overwhelming, and all you can see is how much your life this and you're that and you're that, consider looking to see how much service is in your life. Because When I'm serving others, it is the fastest way to not be thinking about me. I cannot obsess on my stresses and serve you at the same time.
I will tell you. Sorry, I had to cut it.
No, you're good. Yeah,
because I'm telling you, Raphael. I talked off the top before we went live here. How much I love podcasting. It's been something I've been doing for a lot of years, and I really much enjoy it. And every single time I find I'm in a not so good space, or I don't feel good, or I'm in a valley, I want to be on top of the hill, I just podcast. I do more interviews. I do more conversations, and I naturally feel okay, right? And because this is a service. This is right, and so I can relate to what you're saying so much.
So like connection to each other in service, connection to myself and my own soul.
Beautiful.
And if art is the language of the soul, then doing anything is an artistic practice to bring myself back to me. Once again, that artistic practice could be gardening, cooking, eating, walking, talking, anything where I am present, but not thinking. I'm in flow state. Or it could just be painting. There it is. It could be sports can be done as an art. That's why we lose ourselves. That's why it feels so good. So connection to each other, connection to myself, connection to nature, connection to beauty, and then connection to a higher power of my own understanding. And I do not think there could be a bigger concept than we teach this. This is amazing for us to be in the state, the public schools teaching about a connection to a higher power of our own understanding, because they don't know what my belief system is, and I don't impress it upon our kids. We have kids who come here, they don't know what my belief is, but I say, okay, well, what do you hear out there? And they say, God. And I say, okay, let's stop right here. 4.1 billion people that are of the Abrahamic faiths of Christian, Islam, or Judaism all say God. Okay, so let's just start there. Let's put that at the top. Okay, the survey says, bing, God. Okay, how about source? This is what the kids say. Higher power, Mother Earth, Father Sky, divine consciousness, universe with a capital U, cause and effect, karma, love. And then someone will eventually say, science? And we'll stop. We'll say, hold up. Who here believes in science? Everybody raises their hand. I said, who here believes that science is a power greater than you? They raise the other hand. I said, does that mean every single person in this room has already baked in a concept of a higher power of your own understanding, even if you do not hear the word God in your household? Well, yes, I do. Then why don't we all close our eyes and, using our imagination, see if we can imagine what it would feel like to feel through our hearts, to feel a connection to whatever it is you feel is a connection to your higher power of your own understanding, even if it's science. Let's go. Let's give this a try. We put on the timer for 90 seconds, and I guide them through it. And next thing you know, their hands are on their heart. And next thing you know, they've got that Stevie Wonder sway going. Right? It's a sight to behold, to see 30 Gen Z youth all swaying to a connection to a higher power, and they've all brought a different one to the table. It is a sight to behold. It is an idea whose time has come. It is what change looks like. And guess what? They're all praying. They just don't know. My goodness gracious. I can think of no greater way to spend a moment in life than to be present with that.
Well, I was going to say, I could just, being in that atmosphere, in that space with that sort of energy, that we talked about energy earlier, right? Like that type of energy is like, oh, man, mind blowing.
Ooh, you can feel it. And then I say, okay, on the count of three, gently you open your eyes. On 1, 2, 3, they open their eyes, and I say, don't move. Do you feel a difference in the room? And they're all like, oh, dang.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
The sacred spirit is here, right? You can feel it. It's like, it is palpable. It is thick in the best of ways. It is grace. It is grace. So anybody who's listening, if you're ever in LA County, maybe you've got a layover at LAX for 5 hours. We're 18 minutes away from LAX. Come check us out. Indivisible Arts. Our headquarters is called Resin, and you can observe for yourself this movement of youth, this movement of consciousness. This world needs it now more than ever. And if we're going to be the change that we want to see in the world, then it starts with shifting consciousness, because guess what? It's free, and people can teach it to each other.
Right.
And that right there. Go ahead.
I literally was going to ask you, what does conscious youth truly mean in today's world? When you say conscious,
so we have a finite definition of it that we use. And the reason why we've created a finite definition is because it is the fact that it is an abstract conception hinders our ability to wrap our hands around it and move the ball forward. So, in the spirit of moving the ball forward, we define conscious as someone who is the aware observer of their thoughts, someone who's been practicing awareness, practicing mindfulness. They're not conscious 100% of the time. Nobody is conscious. I'm not conscious 100% of the time. It's not possible. Life is happening. But if you go to a conscious person who's learned these tools and you say, wait, remember, you're not your thoughts. They go, oh my gosh, I've just been stuck in my head for 3 days. Thank you so much for liberating me with I already knew through re-remembrance. Mm-hmm. But if you go to a person who isn't conscious and you say that, they say, what do you mean? That's my opinion. Right? Now, Audley, what percentage of people do you think, by this definition of conscious, are conscious?
I wouldn't say it's very high. Right? I would imagine it's a low number.
There's no specific answer. There's a couple of studies out there. I'll share the number, but I just give a guess. What would you say? What's your experience?
I don't know, 10%.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So the only studies I could find say 15%. I've asked this question hundreds of times.
Yeah.
The most of the answers come in around 8 to 12%. That's what most people say.
Okay.
Get a lot of 20-ish%. I've yet to hear anyone say more than 28% is their guess, except for I've had a handful of people say, I don't know, 75%, 65%. But guess what? They weren't conscious, so they didn't understand the question.
They were conscious, nor were they present. Because I would even say like 28%, 20%. That sounds high.
Right. Now, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If we can define conscious as something finite as this, right? This is a line in the sand. A person either knows this tool of awareness and practices or they don't.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, then if the people who are conscious, this 20%, could there be no greater purpose than for all of us to get together and reach over the aisle and help bring people over to this side? And I understand that the purpose is not to awaken others, that they're on their own journey and they will awaken on their own time.
Sure.
I get that. And I also am dedicated to the fact that maybe instead of spending my time awakening others, maybe the point is to cook spiritual nourishment. That way, when they wake up and they're awakened, there's a nice warm breakfast waiting for them of spiritual nourishment.
Yeah.
I'm with that. Yeah. And if a group of people understand a shared purpose, then that is what creates the shift from a group of people to culture. And what I am on a mission of is building a culture that is going to create 1 million conscious youth. This is what I'm doing over the next 5 years. Mm-hmm. And being on here and talking to you is all part of this process to spread the word of a movement that is starting out of Southern California. It is spreading. First, it was spreading like lava, but by next summer, it'll be spreading like wildfire because the nature of the pandemic, okay?
Mm-hmm. Open eyes in a lot of ways.
Think about a 7-year-old kid who is in the back seat, listening to their parents, freaking the F out, going, I don't know. It just, you can imagine at the worst points what, and Black Lives Matter and the Me Too, the whole thing felt like it was just, and the 7-year-olds in the back just like listening. The parents have forgotten they're back there. The kid's like,
Yep.
And what that creates is an unresolved inner program of that inner child that thinks that shoe could drop at any given point.
That's right.
This world is scary and all of this can be taken away in a landslide at any given moment. And unless they've had some serious specific counseling around this specific thing, then that is a program that is inside there some way as this subconscious, subtle anxiety about the nature of reality and how fragile it is.
Yep. That's right. That's right.
So that is just one of the examples as to why this iceberg that is the mental health crisis that we're observing, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And I have a feeling it's a bigger iceberg than we know.
Yes.
Now, our Titanic, that is our society, is hitting that iceberg. There's no two ways about it. But we know how to build life rafts. The life raft is this mindset that is creative, conscious, connected, curious, confident.
Audacious.
That's right. Courageous.
Yes.
And now what we're seeing is these teens that have been taught how to build life rafts are turning around and teaching other teens how to build life rafts. They got together this summer out of our creative laboratory, and they built a new platform called streamofconsciousness.life. Stream as in streaming videos. Anyone can go there. You can see the prototype of this site created by youth. Streamofconsciousness.life. And what these youth are doing is they're teaching these 7 tools to each other through videos, personal testimony of, hey, my name is so-and-so. I'm overcoming this. I'm doing it through the tools of a combination of awareness, acceptance, and forgiveness. This is how I did it. This is what my life was like before. This is what my life is like now. So that a teen or a person anywhere can go to this site and begin learning tools that work from someone who looks like them, not from me, not from an adult who thinks they know better, but from a fellow person of their own generation, spoken to them in a way that they can hear it.
So I want to build off of that because I think it's beautiful, but I want to introduce the social media into the part of this conversation because young people also turn to social media for those very, very same reference points. Like this is this influencer that talks about this and this person, right? And I see social media as a really big problem because of the reach, the impact, the messaging, and it's not filtered.
It's the problem, and it's going to be the solution. Right? The paradox of how the universe unfolds itself is rife with these tight knit together, that it's also going to be the methodology by which we spread this consciousness. Right? But yeah, is it a problem? Oh boy. I mean that's part of this tip of this iceberg. You got this iceberg that baked into that iceberg is a whole layer of social media and everything that is. I mean, oh my God, an addiction to porn. Can you imagine? Can one imagine being a 13-year-old boy growing up with that kind of access on their phone? Oh my goodness gracious. I cannot imagine the peril that this is going to create downstream. We're already seeing birth rates hit record lows all over the world. This is why, right? Throw on top of it the as of Q3 last year, the average American was on their screen 8.5 hours a day. Okay. If you plan that out over a 77.8 year average lifespan, that's over 27 years on a screen.
Wow.
Woo-wee.
That's huge.
Now, there is a number that keeps me up at night, and that number is 90%. 90% of Americans, as of October 2023, Kaiser Family Foundation CNN poll found that 90% of Americans felt we were in a mental health crisis. Here's why that number is so... You can't get 90% of Americans to agree that the world is round. Dude, you have no idea, right? You're lucky you're Canadian. Holy cow. What a mess. Okay, so the reason why that number is so compelling is that a mental health crisis is 3 times invisible. It's first times invisible because if it was an epidemic of broken arms, we would see the tens of millions of broken arms. We would say, oh my gosh, we got to do something about all these broken arms. So it's invisible. Secondly, if a person is struggling with their mental health, then what that sounds like typically is, oh, I'm fine. They're on fire on the inside. They have no words to be. I sat next every single day to a beloved person who every single day she said, I'm fine, not realizing what she was going through. And when I finally found out what that person was going through, guess what? She wasn't telling her friends. I didn't tell my neighbors. Heck, I didn't even tell other family members because it's their privacy. So this mental health issue, instead of being available for support and connection, it's being held close to vest because it's their privacy. And the fact that that number is 90% amidst 3 times 3 levels of that, I think that's an indicator to the nature of suffering in silence that's occurring. Luckily, we have a solution that works. It has a beginning, middle, end. It's available for $12 on Amazon. It's cheap. It's a workbook. You go through the process, and these teens come out the other side with a set of tools that have them in a state of being conscious. Yes, please.
How do you measure the success of your work?
One starfish at a time. You know that story? The people are walking along the beach. It's low.
We'll tell it. That's
right. We'll tell it for the people in the audience. Right? It's low tide. There's starfish everywhere. Sea stars, I guess we call them now. Sea stars everywhere. 2 people are walking along. One person stopping, throwing the starfish in. The other person says, "Hey man, if we're walking on the beach and there's hundreds of starfish out here, you're stopping. It's going to take us forever to do this walk. You're throwing in 1 starfish at a time. What does it matter?" Picks up another starfish, throws it in. He says, "Matters to that one." So ultimately, that's how we measure success. Day in, day out, how many lives we can be affecting. Now, we're going to get to 1 million conscious youth. And when we get there, boy, oh boy, how the world can be different when there's 1 million conscious youth or people united together as a culture trying to make the world better and can be activated into an agent for change. So I'm measuring success both by one day at a time, day in, day out. Let's help these local youth. And are we heading towards this goal? Are we walking this path to the North Star? I don't need to know how to get there. I don't even know how. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Oddly, if it takes 3 months, 3 years, 30 years, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
Walk the path one day at a time.
That's right.
Hold hands, and let's have some fun in the process.
That's right. And
right.
and it is one starfish at a time, right? And
Yeah.
we were talking off the top. Hey, if one person heard what we eavesdropped in our conversation and walked away with something, I'm fulfilled. I'm like, yo, I'm to the moon and back.
Agreed.
So, advice you'd give to a young person that's out there that's maybe feeling unheard or feels lost.
The first thing I'd say is it's all going to be okay. And if you don't have a voice in your head that says, hey, it's all going to be okay, now you have my voice that says that. But if you're a parent out there seeing your kid struggling, and if as a parent the words you're saying are you have the kid feel judged, or why can't you do this, or da da da, and maybe you haven't said enough times, hey, it's all going to be okay. Well, we talk about the programs and the voices in our heads. Guess what? When we grow up, guess whose voices are in our heads? It's our parents and what they were saying. So I can't stress enough, parents, please be saying to your kids, it's all going to work out. Trust me. How do I know it's all going to work out? Because I'm still here. I've been to rock bottom and back. I can tell you the human soul has the strength of 1,000,000 suns to be able to withstand the most terrible of things. Read Viktor Frankl. Read about what has been done and what we can persevere through with resilience and determination. And it's all going to be okay. So that's what I'd say is it's all going to be okay. Come to this website, streamofconsciousness.life, where you can begin learning these tools. Get this book for free. If it's $12, if you can't afford $12, email me directly. I'll get you one for free. My email is rafael@indivisiblearts.org. And it can work out. I know because I've seen the worst of the worst situations. And if we just give it a little bit of love and we don't take ourselves off the planet and we make things better 1%, one day at a time, change will work out. We're meant to go towards the light. The universe conspires for love.
Absolutely. One last point I wanted to make, and it's funny, as a parent, I'm a father of 3 kids, and you learn a lot about yourself as a parent. And I reflect, been recently reflecting on my own upbringing, and mom raised a single parent household, did a phenomenal job with her 4 kids, and the one thing that she continually did was encourage me to be exactly who I am. And that can be really, really hard because as a parent, our children, they all have that one thing that drives us crazy. And that one thing we want to stamp out and go, no, don't do this. But the fact of the matter is that thing that drives us crazy as parents now, when they become adults in that world, that thing becomes the thing that attracts others to them. They become leaders because, right? So that child that was always questioning, right? Why, mom? Why, mom? Why, mom? And when they become older, that same person is now questioning the status quo, right? And we look up to those individuals, right? And so it's really along the lines of, as hard as it is, parents, it is hard, but be able to allow your child to be who they are. And so in that creative space, for example, creatively let them be who they are and just nurture that as opposed to sort of stamping it out.
Yeah. Invite authenticity. Okay. Invite them to be who they are. Invite them to go on a path to understand who they are rather than it just being a reflection of what's on social media. Right. Now, there's studies that show that authenticity is like the highest form of vibration that can come off a person. Sure. And how I would define authentic is that you're no longer dealing with my brain or my ego. You've got my soul. You can feel my authenticity. There's no two ways about it. And I've trained this way. I train 3 hours every morning before I'm even talking with other humans to be this person I am right here, so that what you get is my raw, uncut soul.
That's your
To
intention
be
right there.
authentic. When a person is authentic and they're coming from that authentic place of their soul, well, then everything else, they have a completely different. And this is why talk therapy has a challenge to it, because when a kid is put into talk therapy and and listen, I love therapists. My friends are therapists. I'm not
Yeah.
besmirching therapy at all.
Yep.
And when a kid who is in trouble goes to talk therapy, they're sitting there thinking, not all of them, many of them, what do I have to say to get out of here? They feel kind of in trouble, guilty, whatever. Maybe they
Right.
feel guilty because they heard their parents arguing that they can't afford this. It's not covered by insurance. And is he going to even learn anything from this?
Right.
So now they're
We're
going and
wasting our
feeling
time and money.
That's right. Well, then the perspective is coming from a place of the ego that is defensive.
Yep.
And totally mental, not in soul, not in heart. And which is why meeting people with compassion rather than judgment and condemnation inspires the best out of them, right? So bringing them to a place where they're doing art and expressing themselves. Now I've got their soul on board. Hey, let me drop some science. Let me drop some tools on you. Instead of them going and feeling judged and saying, let me say some stuff so I can get out of here. We hear many times over from especially teenagers. They say, oh my gosh, your program saved my life. And you know what? It worked 10 times better than any therapy that I was forced to go do.
Yeah.
Because we're meeting them with love and
I'm not
compassion
surprised.
rather than judgment.
I love it. And that to me is the way to go. And you know what? As much as we're talking about what we're doing for young people, everyone can benefit from that approach. Everyone, we all can. And so
That's right.
I love the fact that you're being very intentional about the work that you do, Rafael. Give us the title of the book again, and it's out now, you said?
That's right. Yeah, it's on Amazon. The Fundamental Life Tools.
And we talked about the 7 tools, right? We went through them. Yeah.
Yep. Our nonprofit is Indivisible Arts. Imagine a division sign with an X through it. You can go to indivisiblearts.org to find out more, to donate, to volunteer, to get involved, to enroll, and know that we'll be taking that prototype that the youth made, the streamofconsciousness.org, and we're going to use that as a prototype. We're going to build the real deal so that coming 2026 to an online platform near you will be a community you can tap into, a place to learn all the tools, ongoing education. Imagine, Gaia or the Khan Academy or TEDx Talks, but all of it is based on consciousness. And with an additional focus on making it available to youth and making it available for free. That's it right there. Let's make these solutions and tools available to anybody and everybody, not behind the paywall of insurance.
Yep. That's the mic drop right there. For sure. Rafael, this has been awesome, man. I've appreciated this. You have brought energy and passion. There you go, to what you do, and
lasers.
I love it. Yeah, you can't beat lasers. And I'm telling you, the work is important. You're leading from the heart. You can feel it. You can, like we talk about, I can feel it. There's no question about that. And that's what makes the impact that you have long lasting and sustainable, not just this thing overnight. And it's, we did this. It's coming because it's coming from the heart. So congratulations on that. And again, my friend, thank you for being a guest on the Audacious Living Podcast.
Rock and roll, baby. You guys have an amazing week out there. Thank you so much, Audley, for having me. I look forward to being on here again.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Back, we are here on the podcast. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think I'm ever going to look at that phrase, pay attention, quite the same way again. One of the ideas that stayed with me from this conversation was Rafael's reminder that, we're not our thought. We're the observer of our thoughts. And honestly, that's an incredible, freeing mindset to have, because if I can observe that thought, I can question it, I can challenge it, I can decide whether it's helping me become who I want to be or simply keeping me loyal to an old story. Awareness doesn't solve everything overnight, but it does turn the lights on. And once the lights come on, choices start to appear. It's time for an Audacious Insight, where we take a quick look at something happening in the real world that reflects the power of bold thinking and intentional action. Over the past several years, organizations around the world have invested heavily in mindfulness and emotional intelligence training, from schools to major companies, recognizing that self-awareness improves decision-making, leadership, and well-being. The bold shift isn't teaching people to do more, it's teaching people to notice more. The ability to observe our thoughts thoughts, emotions, and reactions is increasingly being recognized as a genuine competitive advantage. Awareness doesn't just change how we think, it changes how we live. If you'd like to learn more about Rafael and the incredible work that he's doing through Indivisible Arts, be sure to check out his website, learn more about the programs they're creating for young people. And if today's conversation resonated with you, please subscribe, share, and tell someone who needs to hear it. And also leave a review, because that helps the podcast grow. Sometimes the most audacious thing we can do isn't changing our lives overnight. It's becoming conscious enough to notice the life we're already living. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, keep living life audaciously.
Driven by purpose, fueled by passion. My words got power, my thoughts have action. Motivation, stay gracious. That's greatness. Be